see who can win the crown. All the marbles involved, football, baseball, or golf. Who's dominating the hoops? Who's talking false or the truth? Yeah, come and show me your war face. I show you my war face. No holds barred, so for your sake, you better show up in good shape. Valuable information is key to your domination. So focus on preparation, online is your reputation. Yeah, it's one-on-one, you and me, ain't no fear in me, you will see. When it comes to this, you be wearing the number 23. In debate, I hold my weight, cause these sports I'm attached to it. Your legacy, get ready, cause I'm gonna set a match to it. Hey, burn 'em. Fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 legacy on fire. Fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 legacy on fire. Fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 legacy on fire.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is episode 68 of Legacy on Fire here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network, and of course being aired on the wonderful Bowie television. We are so excited to be with you guys today because it's been a couple weeks. So my apologies. I know you're like, where you been at? I had some crazy things going on, but we are back to bring you some heat here and to talk some of the latest things going on in sports. But while we're getting that in, let me go ahead and introduce you to the panel. Of course, below here, you see my co-host here on Legacy on Fire, Mr. James Brown. How you doing, James?
Doing good, man. We're back another week. Got some hot topics for you guys today. Can't wait to get into it. Got my man Robb here with us.
Hair team.
Special guest in the house. Hair team in the building. So, hey, let's get it.
And of course,
your hair team here. It's here. But you do got the beard going. Beard game. So
I just got it done today.
Rob just got it all. He got the top.
He's a mashup. He's a mashup of the two.
So with us today, he is the host of the Rob Johnson Sports Show, which on Sunday, the 50th episode will be happening on Sunday, and I believe Larry will be joining you for the 50th episode.
Yep, and we're doing a preview 2 weeks before Dodgers and Yankees. So yes, it's gonna be crazy, and then we're doing AFC and NFC West previews, each division, each week.
Awesome,
Boom.
And a little standard in wrestling will be happening on Saturday. Myself and Mr. Rob Johnson will talk a little bit of wrestling for you guys, but we'll get to that.
And don't forget Cowboy Talk with Rob Johnson coming back on June the 1st.
There it is, June the 1st. You can feel football season kind of creeping into everything. Well, look, let's go ahead and get into it. We got a couple of topics that we got to get into. First, we're going to start off with one sentence. First topic of the evening. We're talking about Woman Wonder here. She is the face of the WNBA now. I know a lot of people are not going to want to hear that, but at least on the marketing front, that's what it is. So the start has been a little bit iffy here and there, but I'm interested, fellas, on what are your thoughts on Caitlin Clark's start in the WNBA. James, I'll start with you first. What's your one sentence on Caitlin Clark's start in the WNBA?
Can't lie, haven't watched, but I caught some highlights. So have I officially watched a full game of Caitlin's play? No, not since she's transitioned to the WNBA, but catching some highlights, seeing that, she has had some struggles in the league. She's had some hot moments. I did see where she caught the meanest pick that I've seen probably in a WNBA game when Brianna Stewart set the pick on her from the Liberty, and she just collapsed to her knees. So, that was kind of her welcome to the league moment. But, she's had her ups and downs, but she's had some solid numbers so far. She's averaging through 5 games, 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists. So, not bad start to her career. I mean, she's 5 games in. So, there's obviously some opportunity for growth and some building. But, it seems that she can, she can play a little bit. She can play a little bit at this level. I'm interested to see how it goes, but she's definitely the new face of the league, and I don't think everybody's happy about that.
And speaking of, I'm gonna go to Rob next. I mean, look, marketing wise,
hey, so got them chartered flights.
Hey, look, that's what I'm saying. I'm not gonna say on any other fronts, Rob. Now you look, I'm gonna send to Robb now, and I'm gonna let Robb go. Robb, what's your one sentence on Caitlin Clark start in the WNBA?
All right, can you put that graphic up of Caitlin Clark again, please? Can you put it up again? I want to see it one more time. She looks like somebody. She looks like Richie Rich from a '90s movie. Anyway, let's move on. So, so Caitlin Clark, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna fix numbers for you, James. She's averaging 17.8 points per game, 4.6 rebounds per game, not quite 5 rebounds. So I'm not gonna give her that just yet. 5.8 assists a game and almost 0.6 steals. But here's the kicker, guys. She's averaging 5.8 turnovers per game. What that means, ladies and gentlemen, is this. This Fever team had 13 wins last year, 13-27. Coming into this year, if she invented basketball, like they say she invented basketball, then this team should have got off to a better start. Now, the last couple of games, they've done better. They've only lost 88-84, 85 to, I think it was 85-83. However, on the season, they've been outscored 458-384, including a beatdown by the 6, 102-66. So, you know, well, the way I look at it is this, folks. When we talk about storylines, right? Let me ask you guys a question. There's a team in the WNBA who won 30 games. They won 2-16. They won 2-12-16 between 2020 and 2022. Do you know what that team is? Any guesses, really quick?
Say the number. Say the record again.
They only won 30 games in 3 years between 2020 and 2022. Do you know what that team is?
I want to say the Atlanta Dream.
Nope. James, next.
The Vegas Aces.
Nope. Next. It was the New York Liberty. And guess how many games they won last year? 32. 32-8. Breanna Stewart is the reason. She is the creme de la creme. She is the star of this league. She came to New York, and they hadn't been to a finals in, 20 years? Took them to the finals and on the brink. Stop disrespecting Breanna Stewart. Stop disrespecting what she has done for this game. 4 national championships. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. 4 national championships and dominant in Seattle. Darrell, you can tell everybody just how great she was in Seattle. How great she, just what she was for that team. Caitlin Clark is a really good player. But here's the thing. 13 wins. That team started getting better as the season went on. However, you come into this season, you're getting blown out almost 6 turnovers per game. I'm sorry. That is not conducive to me thinking that you're the face of the league when you average 6 turnovers a game. But next person.
So I will say this. The only thing I'm going to say about it is I really want to see. I think the coach hasn't really put her in the best position possible yet.
Oh no, that's bull job.
No. Let me finish.
I'll let you finish.
Let me finish. The only thing I want to say is I feel like her style of game, she's not a point guard at this level. In the college basketball, yes, she's a point guard in college basketball. At this level, she's not. She needs to be set. She's almost going to have to play a Steph Curry role in the WNBA, where it's like, okay, I'm a point at times, but not a point guard. Look, we all know that Steph Curry is truly a shooting guard, in a point guard's body, and I think it's going to end up being the same thing for her. Like Jane said, you saw that the pick that she took from Breanna Stewart was nasty, but that was a welcome to the league moment right there.
Yeah, but true. If you're the Indiana Fever, why did you not consider giving big money to Dawn Staley? Dawn Staley, I can guarantee if Dawn Staley was the coach of this team right now, they probably would have 2 wins. Also, you look at what's going on with Indiana. I just, we all knew that coming into the league. I mean, look at her last game, guys. She had 18 points in the first quarter. She only had 12 the rest of the game. She only scored 4 points for the rest of the game. We already know this about her. And like I said, it's not that I dislike Caitlin Clark. I just think that they need to understand that when you come on national television and you say that she's going to dominate a league full of great players, full of people who are just great athletes, you're disrespecting the game. And you're basically saying to all the great players in the past that they meant nothing. When you say that, oh, she's changed the game, go tell that to Cynthia Cooper. Go tell that to Lisa Leslie. Go tell that to Lauren Jackson. Go tell that to those players go tell that to Tisha Pinachero, players like that who really excited the game. This is on the WNBA. They're the ones who screwed up their franchise. They're the ones who didn't manage correctly. So now they got their meal ticket, and guess what? She's not really delivering the way they need her to. I mean, she'll be great in the future, don't get me wrong, but I just think right now calling her the face of the league is a mistake.
I see you. We're gonna head to our next one. We'll see if Caitlin Clark will figure it out. We got a long WNBA season ahead of us. On the next one, we go from one prodigy to I guess a potential another prodigy, or at least on paper. Bronny James. People was saying like, where is it? We were all thinking, and Rob, you said it yourself. We thought maybe Duquesne. We thought Duquesne might have been a possibility at one point. We might see him in the Atlantic 10. And then he said, no, I'm going to the NBA. And so now it looks like the Bronny James factor has become quite the most interesting thing, especially in this NBA draft, a draft where there's not a lot of maybe like household names right off the bat that we've heard about. He's the biggest name in this draft, but the thing is he the best player in this draft? Ooh. So my question is, fellas, would you draft Bronny James? And Rob, I'm going to start with you. What's your one sentence? Would you draft Bronny James? What's your one sentence on Bronny James?
It depends. And the thing is, what I think everyone needs to understand is this young man had a cardiac arrest. So, I mean, when he was coming into, we really never know what his real season could have been at USC. But you look at USC players over the last few years, it's like, they really hasn't been the greatest when it comes to USC basketball over like the last, decade or so. So, I mean, is he the biggest name in this draft? No, I think that the Hawks getting number one pick is important because, the Hawks are going to be getting the young man out of France who's 7 feet tall. So, and I'll get his name in a second here. But I'll say this. What will be, and I said this before, I said I was going to say this before I got on tonight. What would be cool, guys, is if the Cleveland Cavaliers drafted him just for the sake of saying they drafted him and then sending him off to Los Angeles with Donovan Mitchell. But the more I've been thinking about it, and I've been sitting back and I've been analyzing, I've been just analyzing everything, and I've just been, really giving this a hard look. There's one team that I really, really like. And this team has the number 38 pick in the draft. And put me on the screen so you guys can see me. Let me ask you guys a question. What would have happened if LeBron had been on the Knicks this past season? Would the Pacers have beaten them in that 7-game series?
Hell no.
Probably no.
Not at all.
Let me ask you this. Jalen Brunson has an opportunity, if he waits till next year, to make over $200 million. Guess who's taking a $114 million pay cut? Jalen Brunson. And they got to re-sign other players, etc. They have picks. Right? The Knicks have the 30th pick. Why not draft Bronny and say, LeBron, come to New York and play with your son? Why not come to New York, win a championship? LeBron wins a championship in New York. You win a championship in Cleveland. You win a championship in New York. At that point, you ain't got no other choice but to go talk with that guy, because Cleveland, when the last time they won a championship before that? 50 years?
Ooh, yeah.
Knicks, 1972.
It's been a while.
Orange and blue skies. Orange and blue skies. All I'm saying is look out for the Knicks. Look out for the Dallas Mavericks. Look out for the Miami Heat again.
No,
the Lakers. And a fifth team, if you had me to guess, I would probably say look out for them. Well, I'm not gonna say Milwaukee, but those four teams.
I will go. I did hear Utah.
He did want to play with Steph.
I did hear Utah at one point, and I think it was only because D Wade. I know D Wade's son plays on the G League team, and obviously he's an owner, a part owner of that.
No chance in hell LeBron goes to Utah. And the reason I think that if the Cleveland angle, if the Cleveland angle happens, then you automatically know that yes, LeBron could possibly own that team when he retires, and by 3 or 4 years he can own that team. If that doesn't happen, there's still some type of, they're not bitter towards each other, but then he'll go and own the Vegas team. But basically what I'm saying is those four teams, and do not rule out the New York Knicks, because Jalen Brunson isn't taking a $114 million pay cut for nothing. There's something going on.
They're gonna have to go correct on that one. James, we head to you. One sentence. Would you draft LeBronny James? LeBronny James. Would you draft LeBronny James?
My one sentence would be luring the big fish. So, taking Bronny is for any team, it's pretty much a ploy to kind of set it up to in turn sign his father in free agency, which is LeBron James. I feel like any team that's seriously considering drafting him, that's their main goal. Now, can you develop Bronny into a rotational player, possibly even a starter in the league? Definitely, I feel like with the right coaching, he could possibly develop into that. But another thing that we were kind of let in on through this whole draft process, at USC, he was listed as 6'4", 210. He's actually 6'1.5". So he's a little bit shorter than we thought. Overall, I think his arms, I think he came in about 6'5", 6'6", as far as his length as well. So he's not as tall of a prospect as we thought he was, or as he was listed as USC. So that kind of limits his ability a little bit. But, can he definitely be a plug-and-play guy for a team or a rotational piece, something to come out, someone that can come off the bench, be a fire starter? I see that in his future. But honestly, I'm thinking second round, or if you're one of those teams that Robb mentioned and you have a late first rounder, maybe. But any team that is seriously considering Bronny, it's only to get his dad at this point.
Yeah, I really, it's going to be kind of hard. I felt like personally, I would have loved to have seen him, have another year in college, but I mean, hey, look, when the iron is hot and that, hey, this draft isn't maybe sexy on paper in a lot of people's eyes, this will probably be one of those drafts we say now, but all the international flavor will come down the road and be studs in the NBA down the road, and so you got to watch out for that.
Yeah. And the problem is, Darrell, we live in a culture now that is different from it used to be. Now they expect college guys and girls to come in and average 20, 25 a game. Michael wasn't averaging 20, 25 a game. You're playing within a system. The goal of college, just like when you go to get an education, is to get you better. Sometimes you have people that come into the league and they're averaging 30 points a game, but you wonder to yourself, why isn't that person averaging 40 in the league? It's because you have to develop. So a different way of developing. 4.8 points per game, 2.8 rebounds a game, 2.1 assists on 36.6% shooting. And he played 25 games, averaged 19.4 minutes per game. He had a heart attack. Okay? Like some of you out there, you get a cramp and you're not good for 3 weeks. He had a heart attack, right?
I'm telling you right now, I'm over.
So exactly. So he can definitely develop. But as far as the top name, it's Alex Starr out of France. He's going to the Hawks and he's going to be great. But besides that point, yes, I would draft Bronny James. I think he is starting to rise on draft boards as they continue to work him out.
He's had a really good combine. A really good combine.
Yeah.
So that part of it is like, okay, maybe it's gooder than we thought. But he has. James, before we move to the next topic.
I will say, if he does go back to school, though, I don't think Arkansas has anybody on the roster yet, and LeBron does love Cal. So, hey, you got a place at Arkansas, Bronny.
He still has time to go back to college as well. Yep.
Right. I think they get like 2 weeks after the combine to decide.
Something like that.
So, that could be an avenue for him still.
I'm sorry, y'all. I saw something that distracted me. I want to make sure this is not. Okay, all right. I thought they said Jordan Love has signed the contract. I'm like, all right. I got a little distracted. I'm like, well, I don't know. Anyway, but with that being said, it'll be interesting to see where Bronny goes. But if you're looking for development, you go here. I don't know if I want that, but that's where you go because Spoelstra he knows how to develop guys. That you're like, oh, where did this guy come from?
My friend Darrell, after that catastrophe we saw this past against Boston, take anything you can get, my friend.
Look, you know how it is. Like
I'm just being honest with you, my friend.
No, it's time for Pat to change. Look, the last episode we was on here, I told you it's time. Pat needs to fix this thing, and he's got a good off season to try to do it.
Everybody wears their welcome out somewhere, and the butler has ended as his time has ended, my friend.
Oh, it's a sad time. But we do appreciate Jimmy in Miami. Next, our last one sentence has to do with Marvin Harrison Jr. versus Fanatics. It was a big controversy here. It's still kind of a controversy, even though Marvin Harrison has signed his contract today. This whole situation has just been weird. So I wanted to get the opinion from the fellas. James, I'll start with you first. What's your one sentence on Marvin Harrison Jr. versus the Fanatics.com?
.com.
My one sentence would have to be, well, did he sign a contract? So this whole thing is supposedly over the fact that Marvin Harrison Jr., he's kind of at war with Fanatics, I believe, at the behest of his father, Marvin Harrison Sr., where there seems to be some sort of argument over his licensing when it comes to trading cards, memorabilia, so on and so forth. Apparently, Fanatics is arguing that they had a deal in place with Harrison back when he was at Ohio State that's supposed to carry over into the NFL for his likeness, his name, image, and likeness when it comes to Fanatics and their products. But Harrison's like, yo, slow up. I ain't signed no contract with y'all. So I'm technically a free agent out here in these streets. And if y'all want me, roll out the bag, like throw the bag. So at this point, with him signing his actual NFL rookie contract with the Cardinals, at least fans now will be able to acquire his jersey because he's now a part of the NFLPA by signing his NFL contract. But Fanatics is now still cut out of the deal at this point. So it could be some sour grapes on Fanatics and possibly being finessed out the bag. And it'll be interesting to see how this wraps up. But man, I'm not gonna lie, it's still a situation for Harrison where it's like, I hope you hit the ground running when the season starts, man, because you got a lot of ground to make up, both on the field, but also in the court of public opinion, man. I mean, there's some knocks out there against him that went through this whole process where, as long as he plays well, it won't matter. But if he struggles, they're gonna pile on top of him, man. They're just gonna pile on. Rob, it's true. Rob, it might not even be his fault, but the narrative that the media is spinning, they're gonna pile on this kid if he doesn't perform week 1.
Rob, we head to you next, man. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I get it. Fanatics is worth $18 billion. We've seen what happens before when companies get mad at you. They can spin lies. They can make your life a living hell. We got that, right? But see, here's the problem. You put me on the screen, Darrell, so I can look at you guys when I say this. Problem is with Marvin Harrison Jr. is this. He's not coming from the slums. He's not coming from the trailer parks. He's not a poor kid who don't know nothing about nothing. His daddy is Marvin Harrison Jr. And the Fanatics knew better. They leave that man alone because that man will come into the office and you don't play with Marvin Harrison Jr. That's all I'm gonna say. But his dad has given him game on how to conduct business. And they're not used to that. Like, oh, we're just going to trick these athletes and they're just going to sign anything. Oh, no. You're dealing with a suburban kid. You're dealing with a kid who grew up rich. You're dealing with a kid who knows the game. So they're mad because they actually got to go against somebody who knows the game and they're not dealing with a bunch of ignorant jocks. And as far as court of public opinion, he led Ohio State into Michigan. It's not his fault his quarterback stunk. It's not his fault that they wet the bed late against Michigan. It's not his fault that they were playing historically great defense that they only lost to by 7 points. Martin Harrison Jr. is a great player. He's with Kyler Murray now. As far as court of public opinion, what can you really say about him? He's quiet. He minds his business. He handles his business. So if he was out there partying, crashing whips and waving guns and all that stuff, I mean, you can't win in this game. So my thing is, screw the court of public opinion because don't nobody really know nothing out there anyway. A lot of these media members now are only looking for clout anyway. They ain't really even reporting real news. So Marvin Harrison Jr. and Marvin Harrison Sr., get your money, keep being intelligent, keep being smart. Don't let these people take advantage of you. Boom.
I like it. James.
I love it.
To kind of piggyback on what Rob said, I feel like part of this also is kind of opening the floodgates in a sense, because we're starting to see this could potentially lead to the fact that we're starting to see a lot of yesterday's NFL players. Their sons are starting to make the league now. We're starting to see with Marvin Harrison Jr. Well, look who's coming up next. You got Shador next season out of Colorado. You're going to have Shiloh. You're going to have Travis Hunter. You don't think Dion is watching this to see, could they possibly make a move? And then also in the pipeline, Arch Manning's coming up. Now, if you're Fanatics, you probably expected this from the Manning crowd. But if you fold now, just imagine what it's going to be like when Arch Manning comes out. Imagine the bag he's going to get if they bend the knee now to Marvin Harrison Jr. And I feel like, honestly, when you look at the whole puzzle, that's what this is. They want to try to keep it in line and control it now because they know it's a lot of players in the pipeline coming up that's going to be able to play the same game and possibly even play it a little bit better, especially when you're talking about Arch, having Archie, Cooper, Eli, and Peyton. Manning, Manning's command the bag, man.
Yeah. Well, Arch has to play on the field first. He has to have the production of a man.
He does.
Marvin Harrison Jr.
It's going to be there. He's going to be his opportunity.
I mean, yeah, definitely. But you got Quinn Ewers in front of him, so he may have to transfer. He may stay at Texas. Who knows? He may get it next year. But you're right. You're right. It's a different day.
He ain't coming to UVA, bro.
Hey man, his sister was there. I had a shot.
He ain't coming to UVA, bro.
I had to try.
Nobody want to be a Cavalier.
Listen, Hey, listen, Eli Manning did go to Ole Miss of all places at the time. So, I mean, who really knows?
You never know.
I mean, you never know.
Peyton
Whoever's
went to
on,
Tennessee, Rocky Top. So, hey.
whoever offers the bag nowadays. I will say this about the Harrison thing. James, I think I know what you were trying to say when it comes to the court of public opinion. I think the only thing is, because he is a quiet guy like his dad, I think you're going to make a good point where the media is going to try to pounce on him. And I think the only thing that's contrasting that's going to make him look bad, and like I said, I personally don't care. If you go out there and ball, you ball out. But it's what we've seen from Keon Coleman out there in Buffalo, which I think is going to kind of be like, man, look how he's endearing to the public. We love this guy. He's energy. He wasn't the first receiver off the board, but everybody absolutely loves him. And I think the first thing I thought about was, man, I feel like they're going to find a weird way to compare the two, especially if they're playing, depending on how they're playing at the time frame. It's just a vibe. It's not a concrete thing, but I think that's where I thought about when he first did. I'm like, yo, man, Keon's out here just people love him. The media, absolutely, because he's saying whatever. He's having a good time. He's loving the game. And Marvin Harris is like, I want the money when I'm ready for it. I'll sign when I'm ready. They don't like that. They don't like the rebellion. So I think I know where you were going with that, but that's how I felt about it. I just was like,
well, there's been a lot of colorful characters in Buffalo. How many championships they got? And Marvin Harris is quiet. He's got a chip and a Hall of Fame ring. So sometimes it's best to just shut up. I mean, look at Barry Sanders. He was quiet too, and he just ran through the MC North like they were cheese. No pun intended.
That's a tough one right there. Let's go ahead and head to the next section. It's time for the five.
Yeah, I went there.
Yeah, I know you did. Ladies and gentlemen, the NFL season is a couple of months away. And before you know it, it'll be here before you know it. And we just had our schedule released last week. Like I said, once again, do apologize. We were going to come on for that, but some things kind of happened. But we're here now to give you top 5 games heading into the season that we personally are like, I cannot wait to see this matchup happen. And so with that being said, I'm going to start this one with Rob. Rob, I want to hear your top 5, man. Like the top 5 games that you're looking forward to heading into the season.
Gosh, before I say it, let me say this as well. If you really love the game of football, the UFL has been awesome this year. So I'm just saying, guys, we really haven't lost on football too much. Now, let me give an honorable mention. You guys keep up here on the screen, because do you guys believe in things that are ominous? Do you believe in things? Do you believe in destiny? Do you guys remember 2012 who the Washington Commanders drafted?
That would be RG3.
RG.
And what pick was that? Number 2, right?
Number two.
And then they just picked the quarterback this past year, number 2, right?
Right.
Here's the funny part.
And Heisman, throw it in there.
And
both Heisman
winners, yep.
And the Heisman Trophy.
Yep.
Do you remember when RG3 got hurt that game? He got hurt against the Ravens on December 9th, 2012. They played the Saints December 15th, 2024. What I'm saying is this. You remember what happened that year? They're playing almost the exact same schedule. They played the Saints back then, week 1. They played the Saints this year. Back then, they played the Cardinals. But I'm sorry, they played the Rams, St. Louis. But the St. Louis Rams don't exist no more. But we used to have the St. Louis Cardinals. They're playing the Cardinals this year. I'm just saying, honorable mention, Commanders at Saints, December 15th. It could be possibly for a wild card. I'm just saying, I'll be thinking up stuff. Almost the same schedule. They played the Carolina Panthers, that's who set their season off back then. Remember when they played the Cardinals, the Panthers lost that game, and then they just went to bigger heights? I'm just saying, guys, if you believe in omens. Now, my top 5 games, real quick. Number 5, Packers and Eagles, week 1. It's very simple. Is Jalen Hurts going to recover from what he did last year? Is Saquon Barkley going to be boom, or is he going to be DeMarco Murray? We'll see. At number 4, it's going to surprise you guys. Vikings at Giants, week 1. Why? Because you're talking about the quarterback. You're talking about the new quarterback in Minnesota, but you're also talking about the Giants. Daniel Jones, is he going to start? Or is a newly found mature Drew Lock going to start? This could be the start of a very bad season for the Giants, even though their defense is really good, Brian Burns, etc. They could be vying for the number 1 pick.
Hey,
At
Tommy
number-
Cutlets might, Tommy
Yeah,
Cutlets
man,
is still in contention, man.
Hey.
Hey,
At number
hey.
at number three, the Tom Brady game. Kansas City at San Francisco on Fox. There's nothing else that needs to be said about that. Number 2, Kansas City at Cleveland, Week 15. That could be an AFC divisional, AFC championship game preview. Now, for my number 1, I combined them. I just had to combine them. It's just too many.
Mhm.
And I have to get another honorable mention. Bears at Texans, Week 2. But number 1, I'm gonna have to combine them. Sorry, guys. This is what I have to do. The Christmas Day games between Kansas City at Pittsburgh and the Ravens at the Texans, because those are so big. But number 1, and it's just like that was my 1B. This is my 1A. The Monday after Christmas, Lions at 49ers, Monday Night Football.
Ooh, that's gonna be a good one.
What else can you say about that?
Rob,
that's my list.
Rob, you hit
NFC
something on the head with
Championship
Christmas. Yep. You hit something on the head with that Christmas matchup. When I first saw the games, I said to myself, "Oh wow, that's how they're gonna do us on Christmas. The NBA is screwed." Remember, James, when we talked about it at the end of the year, I said, "Man, at least the NFL, it's on a Wednesday. They're not gonna have the game on a Wednesday." And I believe you said, Darrell, it's the NFL. They're gonna find a way. Well, guess what?
They found
did.
it.
They found a
And
way.
Netflix
Just
forked over the
imagine.
bag.
Also, just imagine if Pittsburgh is good.
Yeah.
And Kansas City's coming in there. A lot of people outside those markets don't realize that is a rivalry.
Yeah.
Like that is a heated rivalry that a lot of people don't know about. Pittsburgh and Kansas City is a heated rivalry, and the Ravens and Texans is another one. But I'll also say, and I didn't put this on my list because I had a top 10 when I did a show this past weekend. One of the games was Bills at Texans. Ooh, that's gonna be nasty.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun for so many storylines.
But those are my 5 right there. You can go ahead, James.
James, we head to you, brother. What are your top 5 games?
I ain't gonna lie, Rob took a lot of them, so I'm gonna switch up a little bit. But I can't argue with any of the ones that he had, man. I mean, we're talking about some star-studded matchups, both teams, markets, franchise-wise. It's a lot of great games to set up this year.
And Tom Brady,
even the week 1 game, he's got Dallas and who week 1? I mean, everybody's gonna be tuned into that game, to hear how's Brady do.
You got Brady on Sundays, and you got Aikman and Buck on Mondays, and then you got Al Michaels on Thursdays. Yep. Who beating that?
Yeah, and I'm one of the few people that don't appreciate Joe Buck slander. I don't. People will be like, "Oh, Joe Buck is this, and that." Like, Joe Buck is not a bad commentator, and
he's gotten better over the years.
He's gotten better, especially in baseball. But that's a whole nother story. James, go ahead, your top 5.
So what? I got 2 homer picks. Being the Atlanta Falcons fan, I'm interested in the week 1 matchup with Arthur Smith coming back to town with the Pittsburgh Steelers. One, it's his return being the previous head coach, but then also it'll kind of test to see where's Atlanta at for the season with Kirk Cousins coming off the Achilles injury. And then also, hey, where's Russ at? Is he really still dangerous, or is he just terrible at this point in his career? And will Justin Fields get some snaps? I mean, Justin Fields always seems to play well against Atlanta. He might have some animosity about not being traded to Atlanta. I mean, you never know, man. Week 1 could be interesting. Staying on the Cousins storyline tip, his return to Minnesota, I think that's week 12. That'll be an interesting matchup to see. Will the Vikings kind of regret moving on from Cousins? Rob, I told you picked most of my good games, bro. I'm on the fly at this point. You took all the good ones, bro. You took them all. I'm making up stuff as we go at this point, off the dome.
Listen, man, ain't nobody cared about Atlanta against Minnesota since '98 when Atlanta killed our dreams of that Super Bowl between John Elway and Cunningham. But anyway,
I care. But also, of course, Christmas Day games. I'm really interested to see that Texans and Baltimore game, more so because we have 2 quarterbacks, one who's already emerged as potential face of the league in Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP candidate, but also the emergence of CJ Stroud last year. You have a lot of people saying, hey, Stroud's a top 10 quarterback at this point, heading into year 2, not to mention that they revamped the offense around him, adding a Joe Mixon, adding a Stephon Diggs, not to mention Tank Dell is coming back and he's going to be healthy. On top of the fact, Nico Collins ended the year on a dynamite stretch. So I'm interested to see what the Texans are going to do. One Lions game that I'm really curious about is going to be the Thanksgiving Day game, actually. Bears at the Lions for Thanksgiving. That's going to be a nationally televised game. It's going to be an opportunity for a lot of people to see what the Lions are going to rebound and be like this season, but then also a chance for the national media to kind of see Caleb Williams, to see, hey, is he really living up to the hype? By that point, he'll hopefully gotten his feet up underneath of him. So, he should be up and running at that point. So we can really get a good matchup there. Week 1, I do like the Packers going to Brazil to take on the Eagles. Again, we have 2 emerging quarterbacks in the NFC with Jalen Hurts and Jordan Love. That's going to be a great matchup. It's an international game, so it'll be a great chance for the NFL to kind of branch out, see if the Brazilian people will take to American football in a sense. But hey, another great matchup. And that's 4? Probably piggybacking again, man, to one of Robb's games. 49ers at Chiefs. It's an instant classic at this point. I mean, can the Chiefs prevail for another year? I mean, it's a rematch of the Super Bowl, but these teams pretty much know each other like the back of their hands at this point. So any edge, any sort of competitive advantage that any one of them can get, it's going to pay dividends down the road, because it's going to be the difference between if you're a 1 seed, if you're a 2 seed, does everything come through San Francisco? Does everything go through Kansas City for the postseason? So it's going to be a huge game, huge matchup. I just hope everybody's healthy for it.
I'll say this as well. If this was in 1995 or 6, I would be very concerned about the Brazil trip. But now that we're in 2024,
I'm worried.
But now that we're in 2024 and everybody's got cameras and everybody wants to get famous in 5 seconds, don't worry about nothing. Everybody will be on their best behavior. But this was in 95, 94, 96. Shit.
No, sir.
I don't think they'd be going.
No. So I'll say this. So obviously Packers and Eagles, but I think for me, the Packers-Eagles game it's going to be a test to see what this Packers team is going to be able to do this year early, because, a lot of people are, they're in the Super Bowl. They're still young, and I need people to understand they're still young. The playoff stretch last year was a nice little run, but we need to see it another year. We need to see how – no, come on, we got to see it another year. I mean, it was good last year.
You saying that because you saying that you got to fork over that bag.
No. The bag is coming. I already know that. And I'd rather
lock him up over that money.
I'd rather lock him up now than like 2 or 3, like the year after next, because it's probably going to be like 55, 60 million. Go ahead and get him at 50 while it's low. But no, I think that game is going to be a big game for Green Bay. If
did they not beat Dallas worse than Kendrick beat Drake? And weren't they a couple of minutes away from getting to the Super Bowl?
That's true.
So they are ready.
We'll see.
They are ready.
Look, Aaron Jones not being there is going to be important.
Come on, Darrell.
No.
You upgraded with Josh Jacobs.
No.
Josh Jacobs is an upgrade.
I understand what y'all are saying, but Josh Jacobs has a hammy injury or a hammy issue. AJ Dillon. My thing is this. I want to see what they can do long term. I need to be able to see what they do. And they got a tough schedule this year. Their schedule is not easy. They like the 5th worst schedule in the league. So it'll be a good start. They need to get on a good jump start. So that's one. Cowboys and Browns in that first week is intriguing to me, mostly because I want to see how Amari Cooper is going to play against Dallas in that game. I really want to see how that kind of goes down in that one. For me, one that's, 1 versus 2. I want to see how Jaden Daniels and Caleb go against each other. I believe in week 8 in Washington. It doesn't look sexy on paper, but it
doesn't look sexy on paper. That's a very sexy matchup.
But that's what I'm saying.
That's a very sexy matchup.
And both quarterbacks.
But you got to look at the overall teams, guys. Come on now. Like, we know these teams haven't been sexy the last couple of years.
Bro.
Top 2 draft picks Trump's team.
No.
Top 2 draft picks Trump's teams every time.
But that's why,
like I said, top 2 quarterbacks in a game.
And Washington and what Washington has brought in with their offense, if their defense can even give them a semblance of anything,
right?
Anything, then they have a potential to upset people. You got Caleb, who's from the area, get the number 1, number 2 pick. You saw what Chicago did to Washington last year, 40-12, and they embarrassed them.
Yeah,
it
was bad.
On a Thursday night in front of a lot of people.
These are 2 historical franchises. It's always huge when they play.
Well, that's why I had it as one of my games, or a partial part. The 1 and 2 was one of the reasons why. I still got to see how they do overall throughout the season. So that's one of the matchups. Texans and Ravens is going to be a really good one to me, because I really am excited about that one on Christmas Day. Rob, you made a really good point about Kansas City and Pittsburgh. If you go Mahomes, when Alex Smith was there, they had some really tough battles in Pittsburgh. I feel like they were playing in Pittsburgh every year. And so that will be another really good matchup. Of course, Lions and 49ers. So those are just a couple of them out there that I kind of like heading into the season.
How many games did the Steelers win last year? 9, right? They won 9 games, right?
Yeah.
They won 9 with who? With who?
Me, bro.
With who?
It was me out there, baby.
So now you're bringing in a guy who nearly got the Broncos, who gave up 70 to the playoffs if they hadn't started screwing up at the end of the year. So now you bring in that Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion to a 9-win team with that defense. Man, please. Man, people tripping. And then you bring in Patrick Queen.
Yeah,
and then you potentially bring you got other free agents you can bring into that team as well. Man, please. Yeah, Pittsburgh is one of my early Super Bowl favorites. I'm telling you, people better stop sleeping.
I like Pittsburgh too. I like what they did in the draft. They went and got 3 offensive linemen, and people said, why do they need it? Look, they've been trying to fix that offensive line for a couple of years. They want to make sure Russell is protected, and if whatever happens down the road with Fields, but they want to make sure Russell is protected. And this is going to be a big year for Russ, because Russ knows that this year has to go well for him, because this is essentially a contract year for him. He wants to go defense. Yes, he wants to bag.
Strong running game. Strong defense, strong running game. When is the last time we saw that with Russell? Let's see. Oh, that's right. A Super Bowl in Seattle. Ain't it funny how life works out?
And we'll see. We'll see what they can do there. That's it for the fire starter. Now let's go to the main flame. Flame here, main flame. We are talking about the NBA playoffs. Our update on the NBA playoffs and kind of where it stands at the current time. So as you can see, we have the 5 and the 3 seed, in the West, the Mavericks and the Timberwolves. That's Kyrie and Luka going up against Ant and Karl Anthony Towns, which Dallas was able to get that first win in the conference conference finals. Then we go into the other side where the Pacers were able to sneak past the Knicks in that game 7. They did a really good job, and now they're taking on the number 1 seed Boston Celtics. Well, I think a lot of you would probably say, or I think you both would say, that right now it looks like this is set up for the Celtics to win on paper. Like this is look, you're the 1 seed. You've got to go and win this thing now. You ain't got to worry about you don't have to worry about Jokic. You don't have to worry about him. This is it, right? This is it, right, James? Right? Isn't it supposed to be? Well, James, I'll go with you first.
Atlanta was supposed to win the Super Bowl.
But... look, we've all been there. Well, I'll go to you first, James. What are your thoughts on this one? And then what are your thoughts on the NBA playoffs currently, where they stand?
So currently where it stands, we do have on the eastern side, the Boston Celtics at the Pacers. Honestly, I feel like the Celtics are kind of, in a sense, sleepwalking through the playoffs at this point. They won the first series against the Heat 4-1. They won against Boston. They won against the Cavs 4-1. And then we see that first game, Tuesday night against the Pacers. And the Pacers actually pushed them to the brink, ended up getting the one over into overtime. And I feel like once it actually became that sense of desperation for Boston, where it was like, oh, man, we might actually lose game 1, and to the Pacers of all teams, I feel like that's kind of when the playoff switch kind of flipped for them. And we saw Jaylen Brown hit that 3-pointer to send the game to overtime at that point. But, for Boston, man, they need to be on high alert, because we've seen this Pacers team at this point. Now, granted, I feel like, their win against the Knicks, that was pretty much a battle of attrition. They were the healthier team. But let's not act like the Pacers don't have some guys that can play ball. If Boston's not careful, they can mess around and lose this series. And then at that point, we're talking about, well, hey, is it time to blow the team up? Because you just lost to the freaking Pacers in a year where, on paper, it looks like you should win the title now with Denver out of it on the Western side. But if we flip it to the Western Conference right quick, Mavs at Timberwolves, in my opinion, the champs are coming out of the West. Whoever wins this series will be the NBA champions for this season, because the West is a tougher, grittier situation. And these two teams, right now, they are flat out balling. We have stars on both sides, and Anthony Edwards, Luka Doncic pairing it with Kyrie. The game they had last night, Minnesota is at home. You got Dallas coming in on the road, and Dallas steals game one. You had a phenomenal game from Kyrie Irving at this point, who is really seeing to kind of conserve his energy and playing his best basketball now in the playoffs, which if you're Dallas, that's what you need. This is when Luka needs that running mate, that guy that can come in, drop 25, drop 30 to assist with his 15 to 30 of his own that he could potentially go off for. So I'm really interested to see if this Timberwolves and Mavericks game, if this goes to 7 series, that's the only thing that could save whoever's in the East, because the Eastern side might have a little bit more rest heading into the finals, but the champs are coming out of the Western Conference, in my opinion, at this point in the season.
I'll say this. Luka, since being in the league, has been at every level of the playoffs except for the finals. And he just hasn't had it. He's had an opportunity a couple years ago. I forgot who they played in the actual Western Conference Finals, and my mind's going blank on that. But it might have been Golden State. But nowadays they seem different, and we've seen playoff Kyrie. We know what playoff Kyrie can do, and so we've seen it a couple times already so far. And so when you don't have all the pressure on yourself, I start to say to yourself, well, you got to watch out for Dallas. Now, Anthony Edwards is a different monster right now. There's a lot of pressure on him, and I know a lot of people say, "Oh, maybe not so much." There's some pressure on him right now. He's starting to get the hit. Everybody's starting to say, "Hey, he's the next face of the league. He's the person
he's being propped up as the heir apparent right now.
He's getting propped up as the heir apparent right now, especially with the way Giannis
AIR heir,
right,
like
right,
Jordan's son heir." But yeah, we'll say that for later.
Before I go to Rob, Indiana's scary in a way because people forget that Siakam is on that team. Siakam has a ring. He knows what it takes. He knows what it takes to to win a championship. So with Miles Turner and of course Halliburton, who's been really good this year. Not Indiana. Boston has to be careful. They have to be really careful, and they almost started the other night. Rob, we head to you, brother. What are your thoughts on this bad boy, the NBA playoff?
Before I get there, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Before I get there, let me just give you 2 quick updates. First of all, the NBA has closed their investigation of Josh Giddey. The Chicago Sky lead the New York Liberty 40-32 at the half. Go Angel Reese, 5 points, 4 rebounds. Just wanted to add that in there since we talked about Caitlin earlier. Just want to toss it in. Anyway, all right, let's talk about real quick about this season. November the 1st, Boston beats Indiana 155-104. Yeah, you heard that right. Then on December the 4th, the Celtics lose against Indiana 122-112, as I continue to gather my notes. Then on January 6th, they lose to the Celtics 118-101. And on Monday, January 8th of 2024, they beat the Celtics 133-131. Let me see if I can find another. And then they were at Boston, lost 129-124. And then let's see if we can find any more games. No. So basically what that tells you guys is that this series is unpredictable. This series is going to have twists and turns. But let me also say this. Shout out to all the Lakers fans out there who dissed the in-season tournament, because guess what? One of the 2 teams in the in-season tournament is, guess where they are? The conference finals. True. So the NBA is like, okay. And if you think about it, guys, that's where Indiana really took off. The Lakers could have been here if they had gave up multiple 15 to 20-point leads against a great Denver team. Indiana is a team. They have depth. They're long. But if people honestly went back and evaluated the Boston Celtics throughout the season, there's a game in particular against the Sacramento Kings late in the year where they were up by 30 and nearly gave the game up. And they had taken all the starters out. Boston, as my cousin says, play with their food. If Joe Mazzulla being the coach, I feel like goes against them. If Ime Udoka was still the coach, we wouldn't be having this discussion right now, okay? The Boston Celtics are a team that can be beat by Indiana. Indiana's been getting disrespected all playoff long. Again, they're deep, and they can match up. And Porzingis not being there is a problem. But let's say Indiana does get to the final. Boston does get to the finals. They got to deal with either Dallas or either Minnesota. And there ain't nobody, if Porzingis especially doesn't play, who's going to deal with Karl Anthony Towns? Right?
I don't know.
and real quick, on the West side, the Minnesota Timberwolves will win by at least 20 points tomorrow night. And I think they'll win this series in about 6 or 7 games. Dallas has been playing better competitively on defense. You got to give Jason Kidd all the credit. And again, there are some teams who could have had Jason Kidd, but they chose not to. So, in my opinion, we have two great series here, and it's continuing to get better. But if you're Indiana, you just got to keep scrapping, keep fighting. But Indiana will win tonight.
Real quick before we move on to put out the fire, James, which finals do you want to see? Which finals do you want to see?
I'd like to see Boston and Minnesota because of the storylines. I feel like that would be there. You have Anthony Edwards, who would be the heir apparent. You have an up-and-coming star in Jason Tatum. So I feel like headline-wise, that could be a pretty good finals. So I guess what's dream scenario? That'd be it, Minnesota and Boston in the finals.
What about you, Rob? What do you want to see? What do you want to see on
well, it's not really what I want to see. It's more of what would sell better for the league. And in my opinion, right now,
that's Luka then.
Well, yeah, it would be Luka in a sense, but I will say this. Something about the Pacers going against that young Minnesota team, those two young teams going against each other.
No championships.
Something about that just intrigues me because you got Halliburton, you got Ant-Man, you got all these elements. You have that toughness. That would be probably that would be an old school series if people want to see old school. So something about that series I want to see. But being honest, as far as a viewership standpoint, Boston against Luka.
All right.
You can have Larry Bird in the building, sitting in the front row.
Dirt.
Yeah, and I think it's going to help him internationally too. I mean, the NBA is obviously, but I think.
Let's be honest, Darrell. People want Ant-Man as well because some of the international players, unfortunately, have made the game a little soft. So let's hype up our American players, and let's get it going.
It's just going to be interesting. I think on the West,
it's great theater right now.
It's great. Like whoever comes out of the West, I think is going to be a great storyline one way or the other.
And pretty soon,
the East is like, okay, let's see what happens.
And just imagine, guys, in about a year and a half to 2 years, we're going to hear a dialogue and a story about Anthony Edwards, and then we're going to hear Just imagine if he takes over the league and they bring back the people to do the stories before the game, the monologues and all that. Oh my God. My God.
Look, before we move on to put out the fire, I gotta say, I gotta add on to that, Rob. Let me tell you something right now, NBC. Don't you dare touch that theme song. You better keep it just the way it is and let that sucker play. Because it's like, oh, let's hip it up. No, you leave it exactly the way it is. That is greatness personified. And if you mess this up, I promise you I won't. No, please don't do that. Just please don't do that. Let's go to put out the fire.
Fire, fire, burn on. Fire, 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 burn on. Fire, 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 legacy on fire.
I saw Rob hand go up as soon as I went to it. Go ahead, Rob.
I know we're in a time crunch, but real quick, I just saw this. College athletes are on the brink of getting $2.8 billion revenue sharing model in House versus NCAA settlement.
Ooh,
it's getting real.
Man, the money is flowing in the college level. College people are scared to death. It's like, man, what are we doing here?
Had to get that breaking news real quick.
No, you good. So yeah, but that's the thing, So let's go ahead and head to put out the fire. James, I'll let you go first, brother. Go ahead and put out the fire.
Let's see. I don't have any burning topics this week in the world of sports, but hey, on a lighter note, I'm glad that NCAA 25 will be coming out July 19th. Already set. The only thing I'm upset, I guess the only thing I'm sad about the fact they will not be bringing back the mascot mode yet, the mascot matchup mode just yet. Maybe that's something they'll have in the pipeline for later down the road. But, definitely excited, definitely pumped. Can't wait to see. Hopefully the game plays better than Madden. I'm not going to lie. Even though EA is still making the game, hopefully the game plays better than Madden. Hopefully overall it's a better experience than Madden will be. Because then at that point, that might actually push EA to do something to revamp the game that is known as Madden. So, yeah, that's it for the week.
If you listen to the way they're talking, they made it sound like they put a lot of effort into it. And I think it's because people,
it's been over 10 years. It's been 10 years.
Me personally, I've always love college football just a little bit more than Madden. It's just something about recruiting and building the team up and taking some small school that you never heard of, UAB Blazers, baby. So you're like, that's Trent Dilfer school now. But anyway, when you see like something like that, or back in the day when, you was like, all right, I'm about to take Virginia State, I'm about to take Hampton, whatever. It was just so much fun to be able to do that. And now it's just going to be fun. I'm excited. I cannot wait. I'm pumped up. I'm pumped up about it. Rob, it's time for you, brother. Go ahead and put out my friend.
Well, y'all can keep me on the big screen. So, guys, I really don't care what Harrison Buckner said. I know there's a lot of men out there who are, in their feelings. I know a whole lot of people. I really don't care what nobody says because this is America and we're free. However, I do want to call out the hypocrisy of a certain individual. And I'll say this person's name after. So check this out. When asked about, let me see here. Let me make sure I have the quote here correctly. When asked about Buckner's speech on Wednesday, a certain person said, "We have over 3,000 players." Said, who? They have a diversity of opinions and thoughts, just like America does. I think that's something that we treasure, and that's part of ultimately what makes us a better society. But in 2020, you said, in 2020, you said, well, the first thing I'd say is I wish I had listened earlier to Cap, to what he was kneeling about and what you were trying to bring attention to. So, man took a knee, and Roger Goodell made it easy on the kicker. I'm just saying, I don't care what nobody said. I'm just saying it's just funny how things work when people are getting in trouble and saying things and having to apologize and stuff like that. I mean, they got the nuns trying to come after this dude. And we've already seen how they are with those rulers. They will beat you down.
Stop playing the rulers.
They will crack a knuckle now.
Don't play with the sisters. You seen Sister Act 1, 2, and like 3 or something.
I think 3's coming out soon. 3's coming out soon.
You don't play with them, all right? So all I'm saying is that Roger Goodell, we've seen your hypocrisies out there before. Just saying.
Hold on. Let me see what Russ
I don't really care what anybody said because we it's a freedom of speech, and I'm not sensitive. I'm just saying, Roger Goodell, keep it,
keep it fair. Keep it fair. That's all he's saying. That's all he's saying. For me right now, I don't really have anything too much.
And God bless you too, my man, Darrell.
Hey, thank you, man. That's kind of why I was going to lead to, man. Look, I just want to send a shout out to my boy, Nick Higgs. Friends for 25 years, and he passed away last week from cancer. So cancer. It's tough because he was in my wedding, I was in his wedding. We did everything together growing up, and so my love to his family, my love to his wife, who I appreciate so much because she it's hard nowadays because it's hard to find. Maybe find that partner that's going to stick with you no matter what to the very end. And truly, she did the vows, to death do us part. She was there, throughout, and she didn't hide away. She made sure that he was taken care of to the fullest. And so I appreciate her so much. His parents, everybody. I love everybody in the family. So thank you very much. Just love you, bro. And I'm going to miss you, my guy. I'm going to miss you.
Yeah. And can I say something as well? And this is a little bit of my fire as well. We all here, we pick it about sports. We pick it about, dumb things. We talk about sports every day and how sports is so important. Ladies and gentlemen, when do you guys get mad about everything? Celebrities, who's this beef, that beef. When are y'all going to start getting mad about cancer? When are y'all going to start getting mad and challenging the system? Because every time I look on TV, it's a happy story about cancer. Cancer's not happy. People are dying. People are losing their lives. When are y'all going to start getting mad about cancer and start making a difference? Where is the research? Where is the money going? Screw the pharmacies and the money that they be missing if we came out with a cure. Find a cure and get it over with. I'm sick of it. Darrell should not have to be grieving his friend. A wife should not have to be grieving losing her husband. Get it done. I'm sick of it.
I agree with you 1,000%, brother. 1,000%. So like I said, man, I just hope that for the best for everybody and their families, man. It's been really crazy. It's just been a while. It's been a wild couple of years for myself, but we're gonna try to keep things positive as much as we can. That's it, everybody. That is episode 68 of Legacy on Fire here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network, and of course, airing on the amazing Bowie television. Before we go, fellas, once again, Rob, James, thanks for once again for another great show. James, is there anything you want to say before we go?
Hey, as always, make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Check out all the great stuff we have here at the Legacy Maker Sports Network. But also, Memorial Day weekend is coming up. Hopefully, everyone gets to spend time with their family, friends, and loved ones. And also want to give a shout out to those in the military and armed forces who help protect and fight for the freedoms of us here in this country. But then also want to send a special shout out to those who actually paid the ultimate sacrifice to them and their loved ones and their families. They're the reason we're celebrating this upcoming weekend. And, much courage, much salutes to y'all as well.
Thank y'all so much. Rob, anything you want to say before we go, brother?
F cancer, live every day like it's your fullest, and tomorrow will be better.
That's right. Rob Johnson Sports Show, episode 50 on Sunday. Go Stand the Wrestling. Make sure you check that out on Saturday. Monster Minutes this weekend, all that good stuff. Make sure y'all tune in. Make sure y'all check in. Make sure y'all check out the Legacy Maker Sports Network on all our social media pages, also our website. We've got some really good articles that have been popping in lately. Two of our new contributors, Jaden Golden, who's been writing for the Mystics, and then we've got Xavier Jones, who's been writing some good stuff. So make sure you just go in there, take a look at the page. And we'd like to thank everybody who support the Legacy Maker Sports Network here over the last 7 years. Man, time is the time flies when you're having fun. For Rob Johnson, James Brown, I am Darrell Owens. This has been episode 68 of Legacy on Fire. We'll be back next week for episode 69. Until next time.